News 2.
On World News Tonight this Sunday, it is still being called a search and rescue mission, but tonight there is little hope that John F. Kennedy Jr. is alive.
We hope the families of these three fine young people will feel the strength of God, the love of their friends, and the prayers of their fellow citizens.
The crash that shattered his plane is presumed to have killed Kennedy, his wife, and his sister-in-law. Across the nation, the grieving has begun.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Good evening. I'm Carol Simpson. Tonight, hope has turned to grief as John Kennedy Jr. is presumed dead. You are looking at a live shot outside the New York City apartment where Kennedy and his wife lived. An informal memorial has emerged, much like the one outside Kensington Palace after Princess Diana's death. A somber scene here in Manhattan at the end of a second day of intense searching. Tonight, the Coast Guard says it has picked up an emergency radio signal in the waters off Martha's Vineyard, where debris from John Kennedy's plane has been found. But officials caution that the signal was just one transmission and may be unrelated to the crash. We begin our coverage with ABC's Lisa Stark.
Investigators are now beginning their work to try to determine why the plane crashed and have had a chance to take their first look at radar data. They say their preliminary analysis shows the plane descending at 1,400 feet a minute before it disappeared off radar. Pilots say that is an aggressive descent, but within the plane's capability. The chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board said it is far too early to draw any conclusions.
At this point, we do not know. We will not know for some time. There is even a possibility we will never know.
As searchers fanned out over the ocean and on the beach for a second full day, there was nothing but grim news. Officially, Coast Guard search teams are still looking for survivors, but they admit in 68-degree ocean temperatures like these, people in the water cannot survive more than 12 hours. And officials do not believe there were any life rafts or life vests on board JFK Jr.'s plane, as is common with many small aircraft. A few additional pieces of debris were recovered today, some found by local sheriff's deputies along the shoreline on the western part of the island.
We found a number of pieces of foam insulation. This insulation would be consistent with what would surround the cabin of an aircraft.
This was the same area yesterday where a suitcase and luggage tag belonging to Lauren Bissett, JFK Jr.'s sister-in-law, were found, as well as a wheel from the Piper Saratoga. The Coast Guard is now concentrating its search in the waters south and southwest of the Vineyard, from the shoreline about 20 miles out. Also on scene, the Rudy, a vessel with sophisticated sonar technology that can search for objects on the ocean floor.
Man-made objects normally have very defined, sharp edges, and in nature, it's very rare that you find geological formations or rocks and things on the seafloor that have exact square, straight edges.
But the Rudy's ability to pick out debris has been hampered somewhat by the rocky ocean bottom. A team of 6 divers is on standby, ready to recover any underwater debris.
And the Coast Guard says for now it will continue its search and rescue efforts, as it has promised the Kennedy family that it would. But the Coast Guard has indicated that later tonight it will reassess the direction of its efforts, an indication that it may stop any rescue mission. Carol?
Lisa, thank you. Lisa Stark reporting from Otis Air Force Base on Cape Cod. The search and rescue mission widened today, stretching to an island called No Man's Land. ABC's John Miller was out on the waters today with investigators.
This morning, a Massachusetts State Police Boston whaler came out of Menemsha Harbor, headed for No Man's Land. Because of wind and tides, officials in charge of the search believe debris could have washed up there. No Man's Land is a barren island 3.5 miles south of Martha's Vineyard. Now a nature preserve, it was once used for target practice by Navy warships.
It's a very dangerous place to be. There are a lot of unexploded artillery shells on the island.
Keeping to the shoreline, a dozen volunteers, all from Martha's Vineyard, were told to collect anything unusual. Everywhere we went in the Atlantic off Martha's Vineyard, there were searchers. These state environmental police stopped to pick up something they spotted in the water. It was a plastic bag. John Halinko, who would have taken his family fishing today, instead took his family to join in the search.
We got some floating stuff that we took out of the water. I'm sure it's nothing, just some garbage, some balloons and a garbage bag and stuff.
C-130s with special equipment that would pick up any signal from the plane's beacon crisscrossed the island skies. Even with all the military and law enforcement agencies now involved in the search, there was also a lot more technology available on the scene today, along with volunteers. But as the experts told us over and over again, even with all that, it is often largely a question of luck. John Miller, ABC News, in the waters off Martha's Vineyard.
More details are emerging today about John Kennedy Jr.'s passion for flying and the level of his expertise as a relatively new pilot. Here's ABC's Ron Claiborne.
Experienced pilots say Kennedy took a huge risk flying over water at night in his Piper Saratoga. Several said Kennedy may have flown into pitch darkness, what pilots call a black hole.
You get out there out of sight of land somewhere, or you can't see land because of the restricted visibility, you really don't know up from down.
If a plane goes into a banking turn, for instance, experts say the pilot may believe he's upright and steer himself into a spinning dive, known as the dead man spiral. Being able to read the plane's instruments can get the pilot out of such trouble, but Kennedy was not fully certified for instrument flight. A source at Essex County Airport, New Jersey, from which Kennedy departed Friday night, says he told him he had passed only the written test for instrument certification. He says Kennedy also claimed to have logged 300 hours of flight time. A Toronto businessman says Kennedy flew there last Monday with an instructor because he felt that an ankle injury he had recently suffered impaired his ability to fly the plane.
He had to hop along. He was in a bit of discomfort from time to time.
Last Friday, Kennedy flew without a co-pilot. Kennedy received his pilot's license here at Flight Safety International. FSI has a reputation for running one of the best pilot training programs in the country. In fact, most students come here to learn how to fly commercial airliners. Arthur Marks, who gave Kennedy flight lessons in the 80s, says he flew with him last summer and thought he was a competent pilot.
I never saw any overconfidence. He was not cocky. He probably was better than he thought he was. And I told him that.
An acquaintance says Kennedy's wife Carolyn was supportive of his hobby because he enjoyed it so much. But personally, she was afraid of flying, afraid for herself and for her husband. Ron Claiborne, ABC News, Vero Beach, Florida.
Every year, hundreds of pilots of small planes tackle textbooks and take to the cockpit to master the theory and mechanics of flight. The thrill of the challenge often outweighs the risks. ABC's Jamie Floyd spent the day at Essex County Airport in New Jersey.
Yesterday, another single-engine plane crashed, this time near Chicago, 2 dead. In fact, what happened to John Kennedy's plane is nothing new when it comes to general aviation aircraft, smaller, usually private planes. Last year, 1,907 general aviation flights resulted in accidents. 621 people died. In the month of May alone, there were 216 crashes, with 83 fatalities. John Kennedy kept his Piper Saratoga here in this hangar at the Essex County Airport in New Jersey. When he took off Friday, it was just getting dark.
The man was flying at night in reduced visibility over nondescript terrain, over the water, and it's like flying in a box closed in on all sides, pitch black inside.
Haze is also a problem for pilots in small planes. Today, we flew out of Essex County Airport in a thick haze.
You can imagine trying to do this at night where it's even more of a problem. So you add nighttime, hazy conditions, and the fact that there was a moonless night. And, it's very, very difficult to control the aircraft.
One of the major causes of crashes is poor pilot judgment. The decision to fly visually into conditions that call for full reliance on the instrument panel.
The pilot has to know his ability, what he can and can't do.
The NTSB estimates that 71% of fatal general aviation accidents are pilot-related. It is a lesson not lost on some pilots.
This is serious. You can kill yourself in one of these if you don't know what you're doing.
And a lesson reinforced this weekend. Jamie Floyd, ABC News, Caldwell, New Jersey.
Still ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, we go live to the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport.
This is World News Tonight, Sunday. Brought to you by Total Cereals.
You already know how important calcium is for your bones, but did you know that 85% of women still don't get enough? So start your day with Total. It's the only leading cereal that's an excellent source of calcium, even before adding milk. In fact, Total has more calcium than the milk itself. No other leading cereal comes close. Simple, low-fat, delicious. So good, you can feel it in your bones. Total Raisin Bran, Total Corn Flakes. One bowl, one great source of calcium.
We're gonna change your mind about coloring your gray with the natural look of Just for Men.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men. No one can tell with Just for Men.
Just for Men penetrates hair deep inside where natural color begins. Simply apply, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Gray is gone, matched up to the rest of your hair.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men.
You won't believe your mouth with this antacid.
That's amazing.
Dissolved almost immediately.
Like, it's gone.
Introducing Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables, a whole new kind of calcium antacid for heartburn.
It dissolves quickly when you put it in your mouth. Very quick.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables dissolve faster and more completely than Tums.
Didn't have to dig it out of my teeth. No grit. It's gone.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewable Tablets. Quick dissolve your heartburn away.
Quick dissolve. Maalox.
From 1 Minute Maalox.
In Hyannisport, Massachusetts, Kennedy relatives remained in seclusion today at the family compound. Morton Dean is in Hyannisport tonight. Mort, was there any word from the family today?
Well, Carol, the Kennedy family pretty much kept to itself in or near this compound. There were no public statements, no public comments. So often in the past, in both tragic as well as triumphant times here, the Kennedys have sailed and walked the beach. Today, they sailed and walked the beach. Robert Kennedy Jr. and Rory Kennedy. She was to have been married here this weekend. But it was mostly their body language that told the story of a despairing family today, of another Kennedy vigil. Family, friends, clergy trying to keep the faith, trying to keep hope alive. Flags in the family compound were at full staff. Yellow ribbons around the compound testified that not all hope had eroded. In the gleaming white tent where the Kennedy family wedding was to have taken place, there were deep expressions of faith and hope this morning. A mass. Senator Ted Kennedy, and on his right, Ethel Kennedy, playing the most prominent roles as family elders. On this sweltering summer day in this seaside resort, many tourists volunteered heartfelt messages to the family. At the memorial for President Kennedy, a bouquet and prayers.
There's so much sadness for one family. It's just hard to get a hold of.
At the JFK Museum, God bless were the most visible words written in the guest book today.
You look at the tragedy and that whole family, and I just feel for his sister because she's the only one left, and that's got to be the hardest thing.
This is not just an American story. A huge gathering of correspondents and cameras from around the world converged here today to tell the latest chapter in a book of tragedies about America's most prominent political family. Unless there is an extraordinary turn of events somewhere out in the ocean, this promises to be another long, sad night here in Hyannisport. Carol?
Thank you very much. Morton Dean reporting from Hyannisport. Coming up, another family's loss.
My business runs on long hours and a leave. Look, I live by contractors' deadlines. I gotta keep working till the job's done. So when I'm in real pain, I can't settle for those pain relievers that quit too soon. Hey, I tried them. And a few hours later, I was right back in pain. Then I found Aleve. Just 2 Aleve are strong enough to work all day. I used to need 8 Tylenol to do that. There's a tool for every job. For tough pain, it's Aleve.
Why do I have Aflac insurance on top of my regular health insurance? Because he has his mother's eyes. Because I still have to teach him to whistle. And because Aflac helps cover what other insurance doesn't. If I'm injured, Aflac even provides cash to help pay bills. So why do I have Aflac? Did I mention he has his mother's eyes? Aflac supplemental insurance. Without it, no insurance is complete.
You see this guy's in love with you. Yes, I'm in love.
You never know when you'll find your missing half, so be ready with Scope. Nothing kills more bad breath germs. Its minty tingle gives breath Scope clean and fresh. Scope, feel the tingle.
It's summer, when everybody can use the refreshment of a good hose down. And your deck can use the refreshment of a new coat of Thompson's Wood Protector. For rain, sun, mildew, it's the most powerful Thompson's yet. Thompson's Wood Protector. It never takes a day off.
Out here, am I supposed to say, slow down, I'm constipated? I don't think so. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Most of the attention this weekend is focused on the Kennedy family, but there is another grieving family. ABC's Juju Chang reports.
Neighbors and friends of the Bissetts prayed today at a church in Greenwich, Connecticut, where Carolyn and her sister Lauren grew up. Inside, 3 candles continue to burn for the missing.
We just want to keep praying, and if our prayers are a source of support and strength for both families, well, then we've done what we should be doing.
Relatives are gathered tonight at the family home in Greenwich. Police have blocked off the entire street. At Carolyn's high school, friends recall being thrilled when they first heard their classmate was dating the glamorous Kennedy.
This is where Carolyn signed my yearbook. It says, "You made Doc's class and my first year a good one. Thanks. Love, Carolyn." So it's really sad to read that now.
Colleagues at Calvin Klein, where Carolyn was a publicist, say she never complained about the burdens that came along with his fame.
I don't think it was so much about John Kennedy, the celebrity. I mean, she was in love with the guy, and he was in love with her.
Older sister Lauren, who was 34, chose a less glamorous but no less successful path. It was her garment bag that washed up on shore, her business card from Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, where she was a vice president in venture capital. Lauren had reportedly begun dating Kennedy cousin Bobby Shriver.
Lauren has an identical twin sister, Lisa. She and her parents, William Bissett and Ann Freeman, are waiting for some word tonight, along with the rest of the nation. Juju Chang, ABC News, New York.
During the agonizing wait, many Americans continue to react with shock to the news. Here's ABC's Andrea McCarran.
A somber President Clinton returned to the White House from Camp David to speak to a national audience and express the sadness shared by many Americans.
The Kennedy family has inspired Americans to public service, strengthened our faith in the future, and moved our nation forward. Through it all, they have suffered much and given more.
By now, there are few Americans who have not heard the news of yet another Kennedy family tragedy.
Oh my gosh, I cried.
From the streets of Chicago.
They're like the royalty that I know here in America, so it's really, it's kind of depressing.
To an airport in Atlanta.
It's just, I think it's a shock to the whole world.
Outside the New York City apartment the Kennedys shared, a makeshift memorial with a poignant remembrance of the man who grew up in the public eye.
I believe that the Kennedys were a great American dynasty. I believe that it is a national tragedy.
To see the flowers, to see the candles, to recognize how many hours have gone by, it just seems like it's over.
And there were flowers in Dallas, a tribute at the site where President Kennedy was assassinated. The tragedy touched all Americans, in Los Angeles.
Particularly for us in the Latino community, the Kennedy family has always been very close to the hearts of many of our people.
In the African American community, the Kennedy family has always been, very supportive and has done incredible things for our people.
At New York's St. Patrick's Cathedral, prayers for the Kennedys and the Bissetts.
Here at Arlington National Cemetery, where an eternal flame burns in memory of President Kennedy, most thoughts and prayers tonight are for his son.
We feel like we knew him personally, like we knew the family personally. They were so much a part of us.
A part of a country hoping John F. Kennedy Jr. would someday carry on the legacy of his father. Andrea McCarran, ABC News, Washington.
When we come back, a few of the other stories making news tonight as our Kennedy coverage continues.
Have you tried these yet? Specialized blends from One A Day. Not just herbs. Herbs, vitamins, and minerals for things like memory. Have you seen my keys? Where are the keys? 83. And energy. Excuse me. Excuse me. Even tension and mood. Help your body help itself with One A Day specialized blends. They're just what you need to feel your best.
You're ready to quit. Great. Now, which patch? With Nicoderm CQ, you step down your dose gradually, but you can't do that with Nicotrol. You can wear Nicoderm CQ 24 hours, so it's still with you when you wake up. You can't do that with Nicotrol. Can it be used by heavy and light smokers? Only CQ. And CQ was the patch most prescribed by doctors. Nicoderm CQ, the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
Now, from Seabond Denture Adhesive comes a fresh new hope. New Seabond Natural Fresh. Natural mint freshness and a soft, thin seal that bonds dentures to gums. Original and new Seabond Natural Fresh.
It's time. Time for your heartburn to kick in because your heartburn relief gave out. It happens 2 or more days a week, even though you've treated it and changed your diet. That frequent, persistent heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease, potentially serious.
It's Prilosec time. Time to see your doctor about prescription Prilosec. Your results may vary, but for many people, Prilosec provides 24 hours of complete heartburn relief with 1 daily dose. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 24 hours of complete heartburn relief is possible. It's Prilosec time.
In some of the other news today, the violent crime rate is dropping 7% in 1998. That's the lowest level since the survey started 26 years ago. The U.S. Justice Department released the figures today. The decline is largely the result of a slide in aggravated assault rates. In sports, perfection on the mound in New York today. Yankee pitcher David Cone became only the 17th pitcher in baseball history to throw a perfect game. Cone retired 27 Montreal Expos in a rout. The Yankees won 5-0. And at the British Open in Scotland, one of the biggest comebacks in golf history, behind by 10 strokes, native son Paul Lowry ended up beating Frenchman Jean Van de Velde, who blew a 3-stroke lead. When we come back, America's fascination with the Kennedy mystique.
When it comes to your health, never compromise, even when choosing a laxative. You need one that's strong enough to work overnight, but also gentle. Try doctor-recommended Dulcolax. It's both strong and gentle. It even has a special comfort coating to protect your stomach. In fact, doctors recommend Dulcolax most, more than Correctol and Senecot combined. Don't compromise. Get strong, get gentle, get doctor-recommended Dulcolax. And for strong and gentle relief in minutes, get Dulcolax suppositories.
My dentures always fit fine. I never thought of them as a problem until I saw the video of my son's wedding. It was then that I decided to try Fixodent.
Because Fixodent adjusts to the unique contours of your dentures and gums, forming a thin, powerful seal for a better hold than you ever thought possible.
It was like a whole new feeling, so snug and secure. For once, I actually forgot that I even wore dentures. So now, I like what I see.
Find out for yourself what it feels like to Fixodent and forget it.
I'm 64. Is there anything I can do to stop bone loss?
Absolutely. Here's proof. In a landmark clinical study, Caltrate actually stopped bone loss in women at risk for osteoporosis, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
Life's an adventure because you're over 50 and still exploring. So take the Centrum made just for you, Centrum Silver, with age-essential nutrients specially adjusted to keep pace with your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
As the search for John F. Kennedy Jr. continues, stay with ABC News throughout the day. And tonight, watch Barbara Walters and Charles Gibson on 2020 Sunday.
Finally tonight, the realization that there are likely no survivors from the Kennedy plane crash is sinking in. Throughout the nation, sympathy is especially strong for one member of the family touched by so much good fortune and so much bad luck. ABC's Beth Nissen reports.
So many people found themselves drawn to the screen all weekend, watching the story emerge in pieces: a sneaker, a luggage tag, a twist of metal. Officials were careful to say there might still be hope, but most of us saw it almost from the first as a tragedy. Another sad act in the drama of the Kennedys, a family that has long starred on America's center stage. Now, of the young family that once made the White House into Camelot, only one is still among us: Caroline. So much loss in her life. She never had more than a kindergartner's memory of her father. Her Uncle Robert became her surrogate father. Then she lost him, too. Caroline has always been close to her handsome brother, John. They grew up side by side in the most loving kind of protective custody, fiercely guarded by their mother, Jackie. They lost her in 1994 to lymphatic cancer. At least, say Jackie's friends now, she didn't have to live to see this day. Didn't have to live through the loss of a child she'd spent her life protecting. A loss the Bissett family is suffering doubly. 2 beautiful, vibrant daughters gone. A remaining daughter left without her twin, the other half of her soul. For so many of the rest of us, this tragedy seems personal. A loss not of family, but of the familiar. A boy our hearts broke for when he was 3. A boy we watched grow up and were relieved to see turn out so well. A boy other hearts broke for when he married someone else. Strapped into one small plane were 3 lives of such uncommon beauty, style, adventure, and most of all, the promise that comes with youth and privilege. Promise now submerged. It is what most of us feel as pity, what most of us know as sorrow. Beth Nissen, ABC News, New York.
And that's our report tonight. Stay with ABC News for continuing coverage of the Kennedy plane crash later on 2020 Sunday and tomorrow on Good Morning America. I'm Carol Simpson. From all of us here at ABC News, have a good week and good night.
From ABC News, morning till night, the latest as the search for John F. Kennedy Jr. continues. For up-to-the-minute coverage, stay with ABC News.
Rock, y'all, non-stop, y'all, to the beat, y'all.